Welcome to 2020 4-H Summer Showcase event registration. Your first step when you go to our website to actually log on and do your registration will be through fair entry, and your screen may look slightly different because this is the screen prior to us reworking it after the cancellation of fair. So your dates and things will look slightly different, but the steps will be the same. Your first step once you get to the fair entry webpage on our McLeod County site is that you will click on this green button here in the middle of your screen that says sign in with 4-H Online, and then you will get a pop-up, and this will be your same registration or same login information that you use to log on to our 4-H Online web page. So you will put in your email and your password. If you don't remember what your password is, you can always reset it. Just click on the forgot password radio button there and it will email you a new password, and then you'll be able to log in and change it. But know that they are the same passwords. You don't need to know two different ones. So you'll put that information in, and then your role is always going to be family, and you'll click the sign in button. Then you will get this page here. This is your page that tells you you are ready to start registering for fair. If you look towards the bottom, you will see this button that says begin registration. You can go ahead and click on that, and then it's going to ask you if you want to register, and you're simply going to just click this register as an individual. And then you will get a screen that will pop up with all of the 4-Hers that are part of your household. You will simply again click on the 4-Her that you would like to register for fair and click the continue button. Then your first step when you get in to register for fair will look slightly different than past years. You're going to get a question that is going to ask you about whether or not you want your ribbons from fair. Since we will not be in person for all of our judging, we will be mailing ribbons to those who want them, but also to be fiscally responsible. If families do not want their ribbons, we are not going to use the expense to do that. So you're going to click here which ribbons you would like to receive. There's three options: livestock, so that would be your blue, red, white ribbons. For your annual projects, your static, that would be all of the projects that are in the 4-H building, and again would be blue, red, or white ribbons. And then the last option is champion and reserve champion ribbons only. So this would apply to both livestock and static, and would simply mean that we won't mail you your blue, red, or white ribbons, but we will send you all of your champion and reserve champions for classes and for overall champions and project areas. So you'll make those selections and then go ahead and hit the continue button. And then this is where you will start adding your entries. So your first step on this screen is just going to be to click this green button that says continue to entries, and then it's going to ask you on this page to add an entry. So you will click this button here towards the middle of your screen, screen one again, and then you will get all of the divisions for projects you can register in. So you will see that you will have all of your livestock projects listed separately, so examples: beef, dairy, dairy goat, meat goat, so on and so forth. All of the projects for our kindergarten through second graders can be found under the Cloverbud section here, so you would select that project area. And all of the pre-county fair type of events that we would typically do, so things like favorite food show, fashion review, demonstrations, and performing arts, you can find under the pre-fair events. And then all of the other what we call static projects, or projects that are on display in the 4-H building, can be found under the static category. So when you go to register, you'll simply click the select button under whichever area you would like to select, and then you will be able to register for projects within those areas. So I'm going to walk you through registration with one of my son's projects. He just completed second grade, so he falls in the Cloverbud category. So I would simply click on the select next to Cloverbuds, and again you would click select on this screen and then choose when you get that option. And then from there I'm going to register him for a static project, so I would click the select here and then continue. And then at this point you will need to select your 4-H club that you are a part of, so you will hit the radio button next to that and then hit continue. And then as indicated in communications we've sent to you, you are going to have some questions that you will be answering about the 4-H project. And this is really just to aid our judges as they're judging your projects this year, since you will have the option to choose 2 projects you would like judged through Zoom. And those will be conference judged one-on-one with the judge. And your other projects will be judged just solely based on the pictures and the entry information that you provide us. But even for those Zoom judged projects, it's very important that you think about and really describe in detail and be deliberate in your answers, because regardless of how your projects are judged, your judges will have access to your answers and your pictures, and they will actually use that as part of your judging experience. For those Zoom calls, having this information ahead of time allows our judges to really be able to spend quality time with you, asking you questions and thinking about your work and being able to show details and giving you the opportunity to really share with the judge what you think is important versus spending your 5 minutes just describing your project. You can see here on this screen that I am actually into the registration for my individual project, and you're going to get a series of questions. So your first one is to describe your entry details, and this says briefly describe your entry. So this is what in a typical year would be listed on your 4-H project item tag that we would attach to your project while it's on display. So doesn't need to be super detailed, but it needs to tell us enough detail so we actually know what your project is. I personally use your item descriptions that you enter on this screen to double check whether or not you have your project in the correct category as well. So it's important that you actually write a little bit of detail so I can tell here what it is. So don't write to be determined or just type in like gibberish letters and numbers. Please actually write it. So for my first one here, the first project I'm going to show as an example is a tie-dye shirt that my son completed. So that's all I need to write is tie-dye shirt. And then you will be prompted to answer a series of questions. There'll be 4 questions for you, and these really are used to help our judge in the judging process. So your judges, whether judged through Zoom or through simply your pictures and your text, will use the answers you put here to determine their placings for you. So it is really important that you think about what you're typing here, that you provide enough detail for the judges, and you're really deliberate in what you're sharing. So we want this section to be completed by the 4-H'er, so it should not be mom or dad writing up the answers here, since it is going to be part of the project judging. As a reminder, in communications that you have received, you will have the option to judge 2 of your projects by Zoom, and those 2 will be conference judged one-on-one with the judge. Your other projects will be judged through just the pictures and the answers to your questions you provide. So again, think a little bit about them. To make this process easier for video recording purposes, I went ahead and I worked with my son to type up answers that I can simply copy and paste in here. If you choose to do this on your own, that's something that might help you to do this really quickly while you're on the internet working on it. So the first question you see is, why did you choose your project? So I'm going to just copy and paste here the answer that my son came for why he chose this project, and you'll just put that in that answer. Then it asks, what did you learn from your project? So you'll go ahead again and put in your answer for what your child learned, and then how did you make your question? And this likely is going to be your longest question to answer, at least that's my assumption for all of you. Go through and really describe the details about what you did to complete your project. It's really important that you give the judges enough details to be able to really do a fair placing for you, because as a reminder, 50% of your project judging is based on your physical project, and the other 50% is based on your interview, or in the situation if it's a project you're not judging through Zoom, it's going to be based on the answers that you write here. And then your last question is going to ask you, is this one of the 2 projects that you would want judged by Zoom? So you're going to answer yes or no here. As a reminder, you can only have 2 that are judged that way, so think about ahead of time what those are going to be so you can answer that correctly. Once you get all of that information in, you'll hit the continue button at the bottom of your screen, and then it's going to prompt you to upload some pictures. And there are 4 pictures that for everybody 3rd grade and up that we're requiring for you. Cloverbuds, we're really only requiring 1 of those pictures. However, you can still provide all 4 of the pictures that are required for older 4-Hers, and I would encourage you to do so if you have them. Again, you're going to take these ahead of time, so think a little bit about them, and the listing of what those are available in the communications you're receiving. But for our example today, I am going to upload 4 pictures, and then know that you also have options to put additional optional pictures if you choose to do so. So my first one here is a picture of you with your project. See here that I have my project here. So this is the 4-Her with their project. And then the next one is a picture showing the detail. And you can choose whatever you want to highlight as your detail of your project. That is entirely up to you, but I would recommend that it is probably whatever maybe the most complicated part of your project was, or a part that you think really went well for you. The next part is the best part of your project. Could be the same as a detail, could be different. That's up to you. And then the final picture will be just a picture of your whole project. And then again, you do have optional pictures you can upload, but that is entirely up to you. So you can see here I have my 4 pictures of the tie-dyed shirt that I'm using here as an example. And then hit continue. And then at this point, you will be able to either add another entry if you choose to do so. If you have all of your projects entered that you'd like to do, you will hit this green continue to payment button. You won't actually pay anything, but it is a step that is part of the registration process. And then again, you see it says 0 for your total, and then you'll hit continue. It tells you a payment's not necessary because your invoice is 0. So again, continue. And then you can go ahead and submit your entry. Just know that after you submit your registration, we do need to, as staff, approve your registration before you can go back in and enter additional registrations for your family. So just know that. Don't hit submit until you have all of your projects entered, preferably. And then when you get all done, you're going to get this thank you screen. You can sign out at this point if you'd like to. And then you will also get a confirmation email that will come to you with the projects that you have registered. Now, hopefully, you have a clear understanding of how you need to register. As always, if you are confused or you need help, please reach out to 4-H staff, either by email or phone, because we are here to help you through every step of the process. Watch for additional details about what judging will look like as we continue to figure that out. We are working on getting all of our details finalized, but please know that we appreciate your flexibility and your support as we're all figuring out this together. Thank you and enjoy your registration.